What's up, everybody on the Core Confidence community here? It's David once again talking today about the boiling frog syndrome. The boiling frog syndrome. We all know boiling frogs, right? Boiling frogs are when you put them in a pot and you slowly heat the water, they don't even know they're getting cooked, but they're getting cooked, and before they know it, they're gone. So we're talking about that in terms of why so many guys are finished before they started in relationships with women, with what I like to call the boiling frog syndrome. Okay, so I'm going to be discussing this topic in depth, what I've seen with my clients, certainly with myself is always included. And a lot of guys out there, professionally successful guys, are no contrary to popular belief, right? Successful guys struggle with this as much as guys who may not currently be as successful in their career, business, whatever. Okay, it's all common ground, right? Money, looks, those things. Do they get you to some kind of point or something? Well, yeah, sorta. But if you want an authentic relationship, an authentic connection, then they are secondary or tertiary, to get a little nerdy here, compared to the connection and how you guys vibe, connect, and how you make her ultimately feel. Okay, so please like, comment, and share this video if you get value out of it. Always love to hear from you guys in the comments as well, for sure. And also, I have a free report, a brand new, well, it's not brand new. It's brand new in the sense that I haven't announced it much. I wrote it a couple months ago, and it's great stuff. It's 40 pages of awesome content, and this free report is entitled 7 Roadblocks. Okay, 7 roadblocks that prevent successful single men from attracting their perfect 10 for an amazing relationship. Okay. Perfect 10. There is no absolute perfect 10. There is just your perfect 10. If you don't believe in 10s, 9s, okay, it's the package deal. That's what it means. I really don't like the terminology, the scale of the 1 to 10. But it applies when we talk about your perfect 10. If we talk about absolute perfect 10s, there aren't, because everyone's different, every guy's different. And just because a woman is physically hot, she could be a 3 on the inside, and we put that 9 or 10 hot with the 3, right? We average out to a 6 in terms of actually getting a quality connection and relationship. Okay, and more I'm moving to, though I help plenty of guys and plenty of my clients to date casually, have fun, but do it authentically in what I call above board. I'm definitely leaning more towards guys getting authentic connections, because especially as successful guys, you don't have time to dally around in the dating world on and on and on and on. And most guys really don't want to spend more than a year there if they're, say, kind of freshly 1 or 2 years out of a divorce or a relationship that wasn't working. Okay, so just type in report in the comments, and I'll make sure you get a link so you can access that report, 7 roadblocks that prevent successful single men. And I talk about the roadblocks and what you need to do to overcome them. Okay, it's really powerful stuff, right? Including online dating. Okay, and it's definitely going to relate to what we're talking about here today. Okay, so glad you're here. Please like, comment, share as we go along. Tell me what you think. And so if you don't know me, hopefully you do, but if you don't, my name is David Hamilton. Relationships attraction expert for professionally successful men, and happy to be here and help you with this stuff. So talking about the boiling frog syndrome, let's dive in here. Okay, what is the boiling frog syndrome? Well, you already know what a boiling frog is, right? And if you don't, it's the frog, or crawfish, crawdads, we used to call them. Used to catch crawdads, me and my cousins, for my grandmother when I grew up going to Lake Tahoe family vacation, and we would watch the same thing. Put them in there and slowly raise that water, and well, crawdads can't jump out though, so it's sort of not fair, but same type of thing, right? And so here's one big way that this shows up. Okay, Here's one big way that this shows up. Let's say that how guys turn into boiling frogs. Let's say you do know what to do to get a woman attracted into a relationship. Okay, let's say you do that. Now, most of you here may not be there yet, right? That's a huge thing that I help guys with, is get that attraction going, because attraction without connection is a friend. It's the friend zone. And connection without attraction. Sorry, connection without attraction is the friend zone. Attraction without connection is you're probably not going to get into a relationship. You could, but she's probably going to not have the healthiest self-esteem, and she'll chase you, which is better than being in the friend zone. But you kind of need both, right? And I call them attractive connection skill sets, okay? Which I work heavily with with my clients. And so, and this is something I have to coach guys on a lot when they come to me, because a lot of times they have attraction problems, like a lot of you guys do. It's pretty normal. Confidence problems, attraction problems, but especially attraction. And what will happen is they start getting results, some of them very rapidly, extremely rapidly. They have a lot of other things lined up. We got to make some mindset shifts. They're accustomed to them, and some skill set shifts and vibe shifts ultimately. But once this is great, they're starting to see 2, 3, 4 different women even, right? Or, a bunch of women are chasing them. There's 1 or 2 they have their eye on, right? And then there's the one who seems to be rising to the top, the cream of the crop. But what can happen is, because we still have more mindset work to do, because this is a process, right? This can take time. It doesn't happen overnight for pretty much most anyone, even though they can get results quickly. And I can take a guy potentially, and by the end of a couple months plus, totally transform them. They might be in a relationship or well on their way to. But the most important thing is the mindset shift, because they can get all this attraction, and if they set into their old habits and think that they can just be how they were before we started working together, that's a huge boiling frog trajectory, if that makes sense. Okay, well, I just gotta be this guy in order to attract her, then I can just be Al Bundy, Al Bundy from Married with Children, sitting on the couch with my hands down my pants and like a slob. Afraid not. Okay, you have to maintain, you have to be the same guy all the way through. And I've had sometimes in the middle of a coaching program with a guy, he'll say, well, I can just go back to being the way I was. But I'm like, have you not been paying attention to the coaching this whole time? It's been working. You have to keep doing that. Oh, okay. And look, this is a smart guy. It's that part of him that hopes that we all have, that we can just kind of go back and be lazy. Now, I'm not saying you have to always do all this work, not at all, but you have to maintain your edge. You have to maintain your vibe. A guy that I was working with recently, within his program, got a relationship pretty quickly, and we continued coaching some after, because he wanted to maintain that vibe after and keep it going in the relationship, okay? Because he wasn't sure on how to keep that going and lock that in, because different dynamics do show up, right, when you're in a relationship versus you're in the honeymoon phase. And they were kind of coming out of the honeymoon phase, right? And he was running into a lot of the same stuff, right? He was running into thinking that he could, and again, a lot of it's subconscious, though. It's not even you're aware of it. That's the crazy stuff about all the mind work that we do, right? And the vibe work. And old associations to relationships in the past, or how you're born and raised, come in. I mean, it's the way we work as human beings, right? And so that's one way. That's a little more advanced way that shows up. But how it shows up for, let's say you're a guy right now who you're down on your luck, you're not attracting the women you want, you haven't been able to do it maybe in a while, possibly many years, right? Or your confidence is down, or whatever is happening, that you're even having a hard time getting any dates with the types of women that you want, or responsiveness from them, or attention from them even, right? Well, how does this boiling frog show up? Well, quite simply, one of the first ways that I talk about in the Attraction on Command Masterclass. I also talk about it in the free report that I mentioned earlier, and just type report in the comments if you want a copy of the 7 roadblocks to attracting your perfect 10. Okay, good stuff. Also has a link to the webinar in it, so it'll take you right there if you want to see the whole webinar. The masterclass is pedestalizing women. Okay, and of course, the way this can happen is, for the former situation, a guy may not pedestalize a woman when they're in the honeymoon phase and attracting, and then all of a sudden he's throwing her up on the pedestal all the time, and she starts acting wily because there's an incongruence. And I'm not saying that you don't grow that connection. There's more intimacy and love and all that, but there's this total flip and shift. So I talk about flipping the script, and you flip the script back on itself, and all she knows is this doesn't feel right. She's like, whoa, you're different. And this is when, this happened recently to one of my uncles who came to me for advice, knowing that I do what I do, and basically was saying, he was getting the phrase of, she wanted to all of a sudden after 4 years, to see some other people. And there's, and my uncle was very much kind of latched onto her. Now, they had a lot of fun. He's a cool guy all around, but he was needy, right? And very pursuey. And he can get away with it, a lot of it, I think, because of his age, because he's in his 70s now, and she's in her 60s. And because, a lot of times the men tend to die quicker. But here's the thing, there was a point where that stopped working. And I had told him before, when he was having problems, I had mentioned a couple things. And then I gave him, tried to help him out a little bit. And he's like, yeah, I got it. But he didn't really get it because he's so ingrained with the beliefs and the mindset of a pursuing pedestalizer, right? And again, sometimes maybe I need to frame pedestalizing in a little more friendly way, because it could be like, rip that pedestal out from under. No, it's not about that. It's like, being on a level playing field, right? Instead of, kissing her feet, who, if she's your queen and, you kiss her feet, you're her servant, you're her peasant. We use the king and queen model. She wants to be with the king. You got to be on the level. Once in a while, you may, of course, get a little bit lovey-dovey. But if you're worshiping her, quote unquote, they don't want it. And so you have to really pay attention. This stuff gets subtle. It's like it's in your head, really. I mean, it's in your head, but it's in your belief system, which we're walking belief systems, basically. This is a little bit deeper psychological stuff I don't always get into, because I don't know why I don't. Maybe I will more now. So if you're doing all that, you're already a boiling frog if you are pursuing, chasing too much, pedestalizing. If you are constantly obsessing and thinking about women or a particular woman, you're a boiling frog. Okay. If you're squirreling, which is when you see the hot women, you go, kind of stop everything and go, instead of maybe noticing, maybe you look over, maybe you don't. If you're squirreling around like this, you're a boiling frog. Okay. If you're, she's so hot. If you're out with your friends, dude, check out this chick, bruh, check out this chick, right? Or they check it out and you go, yeah, right? It's boiling frog behavior. Okay. Stuff's got to go. Got to own your value, gents. A lot of it comes down to self-acceptance too, by the way. There's a man named Jordan Peterson out there. He's got some really cool stuff on psychology and archetypes and all this stuff, right? I agree with a lot of what he says. There's one thing that he said that I didn't agree with, which was a common solution. Common solution to all this stuff is to love yourself more. That's really hard. And I'm like, yeah, but it's super worthwhile. That's the same thing as self-acceptance. Okay. It's actually a key to the vibe, by the way. It's not everything, but it's one master key to the vibe, is really being accepting of yourself, which is very counterintuitive because, oh, you know, you got to change things. You know, you got to do that. Of course, you got to change. Some things got to change. But if you don't do it from a place of real self-acceptance, not only does the process arduous and difficult, but you don't have the same strength of presence and vibe that is the foundation for real magnetism. Okay. And we're all about magnetic attraction here, magnetic vibe. Sexually magnetic vibe, as I talk about in depth in the Attraction on Command Masterclass. Okay. So that's, you know, that's the gist of this, guys. You know, these are the, you know, some of the same stuff and some new stuff here. But if you're doing what every other guy is doing, what most guys are doing, and look, even if a guy gets married or whatever, it doesn't mean that there's a nice balance of respect and connection and, for lack of a better term, power, just because you're in the relationship. And you guys have known that, will know this, if you know, you've been in relationships like most of us here have. And it's really, it sucks, right? It's no good to be in a relationship where she's got all the power and she doesn't really respect you, or it goes that way because you've been pedestalizing, chasing her, and you're still chasing her all the time in the marriage or whatever. On the same token, you can't go back and you can't completely ignore the relationship, right? That's not going to work. You know, it's, you know, to be a little controversial, it's a little bit better to be that way than to be overly placating, in my opinion. But you don't want to be either, really, okay? Because you just give your power away constantly when you're constantly like, oh, I'll do anything for you, I'll do anything for you. Unless she happens to have that attitude back at you at the same level. But, you know, it's still, even if you say that, you have to have that backbone and that edge that we talk about here a lot as well, in order to, she has to be able to respect you. And that means you have to stand up for yourself when appropriate. And by the way, standing up for yourself doesn't mean getting angry and getting into arguments, by the way. Not at all. Okay, there are many ways to handle it, right? But that you don't take crap when you're getting crap and it's, you haven't done anything wrong. You know, the same thing that you wouldn't or shouldn't do the same thing to her, you know, unless you're, well, hopefully you're not a narcissist or sociopath watching this, because you know, you've got other issues that you need help with that my stuff isn't going to help you with. But most of you here aren't that, or probably all of you aren't. Okay. So, I mean, if we flip it around, think about, you know, the woman who would do anything for the guy and this and that. And think about how she's constantly going, oh, I'd do anything for you. You're so amazing. You're so special. She constantly is telling you that. Aren't you going to start to be like, wow, this person is needy? Instead of two people coming together, enjoying life experience together, adventures, intimacy, hot sex, chemistry, conversations, trips, everything that I know you guys want, right? So it's always good, a good mental exercise. Am I behaving this way? If she was doing this to me, would I be attracted to her? If I was, when I think she's getting a little needy, or a little crazy, or a little gonzo, right? It's really appropriate to flip things over in that way, right? It's another way to flip the script, right? So, you know, the stuff that I teach and talk about here is, I feel, counter to the mainstream, because typically the way things work with human society is those that are most successful are doing what the others aren't. Could be in your career, your business, health, your body, right? Your psychology with women, being social, raising your kids, yada, 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 yada. How you manage your money, right? Any of this stuff. And groupthink is a dangerous thing in that way. And I also think it's why people aren't necessarily happy with online dating apps. Everybody's doing it. They're kind of doing it. It's just this kind of big shit show. It used to be shooting fish in a barrel when I did it many years ago. It truly was. It was taboo back then. I remember my roommate busted me and was like laughing at me back when I lived in New York. But I was, you know, doing well, cleaning up. That was in like 2003, 2002, 3, 4, something like that. Right when online dating was coming to a head. I think Match had barely just begun. There was sites like Lava Life and Nerve and all these things that are, I think, gone now, all kinds of ones. And it was great, but it's not the same situation now. And what never fails is being able to meet women in person, and they're dying for it. They're craving for a guy that they can meet in person. I mean, don't you think, I mean, though online dating and apps and that are acceptable more than ever, isn't it still an awesome story that, hey, we met through friends, or hey, we met at this party, or hey, we met at this concert, or hey, we met at this coffee shop, or hey, we met at this restaurant, or hey, we met at the running club or hiking club or whatever, right? Whatever activities you're into. It's just natural. It's social. And I don't see it going away for a long, long time, if ever. Okay. And so you got to think about, if you're thinking about online apps and dating and all that, to me, that's part of the boiling frog too, is hoping and wishing and hoping that you can swipe more and this and that. And you're going through the riffraff, and, you know, they're getting inundated with messages, even the women that aren't that attractive or whatever. And you're setting up the boiling frog for you because you're not, well, certainly not getting the results. But it's like easier than ever because people are trying to wait for that first meet through the app instead of being social, striking up some conversations. Okay. Yes, you want to work on that social life as well. This is not pickup here. Pickup artists be gone. This is not that. We don't use that word. We don't use pickup lines. They're not needed. They're not necessary. They're not the best way. Okay. So I think I'm going to end it there today. Good little time we spent there together. And yeah, so remember to drop report down in the comments to get a copy of the report. 7 roadblocks professionally successful men struggle with, especially in particular professionally successful men. I mean, there are things that are common to all men, but there's certain things in there, particularly you guys, that I put in there because that's who I help best. And you know, find a perfect 10 relationship. It's an awesome PDF report, and the price is right. If you don't like it, but I promise you, your time won't be wasted. Okay, it's really, I put a lot of time into it. Really proud of it, in order as a resource to help you guys out. And then at the end of it, you can also sign up for the Attraction on Command Masterclass if you haven't seen that yet. So you get both or just one. Okay, up to you. Okay, depends on what you want. And again, look, the summer's here. We're full-fledged summer, better than ever to be meeting women. It is, you know, I mean, any season is good from the stuff that I teach, but really summer is amped up with the heat and the activity and everything. So don't wait on this stuff, right? Don't wait on getting some help. Sign up for the report. If you want to see if I can help you out personally, you can send me a chat message as well. We can have a little discussion about your situation and see if that's truly fit and possible, okay? And you really are committed to accelerating things. But I want you guys to grab the report because it's really going to help you out, okay? So I think that's it for today. Until next time, it's David Hamilton, Core Confidence, Relationships Attraction Expert for professionally successful men. And until next time, we're done, over and out. We're complete. See ya.